43, okay. Morning, honorable members. Honorable members, yesterday we used our new venue for the National Assembly sittings for the first time for the budget speech. The session, in my view, went very well, and we would like to appreciate the work done by the administration to ensure that the Good Hope was ready for proceedings of the National Assembly. The two milestones we've achieved under the current circumstances, first being the State of the Nation address and subsequently the budget vote, demonstrate that we can indeed unite for a common cause as this team. I'm confident, therefore, that through continued cooperation and collaboration, we will make this parliament even stronger and more effective than it is currently. And I want to thank all honorable members without exception for a job well done and for the manner in which we conducted ourselves at plenary yesterday. I then proceed, honorable members. Are there any apologies? Any apologies?
An apology.
None. It's quiet.
Honorable Speaker.
My hand is up, Honorable Speaker.
Mine as well,
I'm
Speaker.
sorry. Okay, all right, I'm sorry. Honorable Voter Vessels.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Just an apology for Dr. Mulder.
Okay. And then Honorable Chief Whip of the Majority Party.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Good morning to you and good morning to all members of NAPC. Honorable Speaker, just on your short opening remarks, I concur with you that indeed Good Hope Center was enabled to host a hybrid. However, I've highlighted to Mr. Kaso some shortcomings of the venue, how the venue has been set up, and I gave him the details. There are some improvements that we have to do. It was okay yesterday for us to start, then we could only observe as we're going ahead with the session. So I want to suggest that more work needs to be done so that the venue can be very conducive and be reflective of Parliament. It was a little bit dark. The podium where the presiding officers are sitting, the camera was too close to the minister. The presiding officer was right at the neck of the minister. So I'm just saying, whilst we appreciate the good work that has been done, but more improvements must be done in that venue. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chief Whip of the Majority Party. Highly appreciated. I have received that feedback about the lighting, about the cameras. So I guess the administration will follow as such, just to check what is outstanding, which needs to be done at the place. Honorable, that was Honorable Majodina, Honorable Mazoni, followed by Honorable Singh.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. Good morning. Good morning to all of you.
Yes, I will recognize you. Thank you. Honorable Mazoni.
Good morning, Madam Speaker, and good morning to everyone. Madam Speaker, just a note that I realized yesterday. I'm not sure if it was on both sides of the room, but on the side that the opposition was sitting on, the side closest to the doors, the carpets were wet. And I'm sure you could smell a faint sort of musty, almost toilety smell And I realized that somewhere from somewhere there must be a water leak happening. So if you could be so kind as to ask the services to go and have a look. I went and I realized if you put your foot on the carpet, there was actually water coming up off the carpet. So I think that we urgently need one of those companies that suck the water out of the carpets to come in, because that's certainly not conducive, and the smell was certainly rather off-putting. But I think that I would like to congratulate the staff for the circumstances that they found themselves in, and the way in which they conducted it to the best of their ability. I think our staff have been quite amazing during these very difficult times in adapting to how we found ourselves. So just a very big thank you to the staff for doing the very best that they can under very difficult circumstances. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mazoni. Honorable Singh, followed by
Yes,
Honorable Ngabayomzi, Yoklengiwe Mkalipi, then Ngabayomzi.
Good morning, Honorable Speaker and Honorable colleagues and our very capable administration team. Apology from me that I will have to leave at 9:20 for another meeting today. Thank you.
Thank you. Apology accepted, Honorable Singh. Honorable Mkalipi.
And Diabulela Speaker, I just want to do a brief comments on your opening remarks. Speaker, as much as we are applauding the administration on the work that was done yesterday, and for members of parliament to go back to parliament, but the fact of the matter, Speaker, is that the venue is so small. Out of 44 battalions of the EFF, only 8 is accommodated. I know, Speaker, I raised it in the Chief Whip's Forum, and the Chief Whip of the ANC told me that no, this matter was tabled here last week, and you are still awaiting for the Speaker about the bigger venue. And but the fact of the matter, Speaker, is that we need a bigger venue whereby most of the members of the parliament will go back to parliament, because this type of hybrid is not working, Speaker. If I can make an example, yesterday, one of the committees that is chaired by Mr. Makatla, I can't remember specifically the name of the committee, mistakenly, he was speaking while his mic was on, and he was taking an advice from someone else, told by that someone that, no, you must not take the EFF after the ANC, blah, 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 blah. And the member of the EFF who's serving in that committee, who's the TG, was fighting, saying that now, you are not the chair. Who is advising you how to take or line up the speakers? I'm saying, Speaker, it could be happened that he was mistakenly with his mic on, but because we are using the hybrid system, we had everything. And when the member questioned what is happening in the committee, how do you do that in a committee and then frustrate the members of the committee who wants to engage in a committee level? She was kicked out. So I'm saying, Speaker, my point is we need to go back to parliament in full swing, because this thing of hybrid, it does not work. Even the quality of work, when we need the department to come and account here to us as members of the parliament as per the constitution, is not perfect, because anyone can just say, assuming or just pretending as if there's a load shedding, and then you'll pretend that, no, I can't come and account because there's load shedding. So I'm saying, Speaker, as much as we are waiting for your response for the bigger venue, please can you bear in mind that we need to come to parliament and work as members of parliament. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mkalipi. That point is noted. Honorable Ngwakwa Ngabayomzi, followed by Honorable Swart.
Speaker ngukhwankwa mandikulungise khwankwa
Xolo kwankwa.
Speaker, well, I wish honorable my umhlobam uNantsika honorable Hlophe Mkalipi was there last week when Honorable Nhlangwini did not agree with the aspect where I was saying in one of our meetings that the virtual meetings have served their purpose, but they are not entirely effective for a number of reasons, which I think we at this forum at some point should do a proper assessment of the work and the quality of the oversight work we have done thus far. using virtual platforms. You know, Speaker, you probably don't know, I don't know, but I think I've heard of instances where MPs would have two cell phones, one attending another meeting, another cell phone attending another meeting, and both cell phones are in the bag. And the people continue with their daily business without attending to those meetings. And when they are called to make inputs, they are not there. And I think chairpersons would share those challenges, that MPs would connect and then after that completely disappear. I think sometimes when it comes to house sittings, we do experience that problem as well, where someone is online but not making any input, meaning we are not doing what we're paid. In those instances, MPs are not doing what they are paid by the taxpayers to do. But I do want to concur insofar as what Chief Whip Pemia Jordina said, that the venue, I think there are a lot of things that still need to be changed around. I think it's one of the more beautiful venues we have in Parliament. I don't know whether there can be an improvement in the sitting arrangement, whether it's possible, I don't know, for MPs, rather than to sit in the manner in which they're doing, for the sitting arrangement to be changed slightly. But also, obviously, I think the other issues that have to do with lighting, there's not enough light, it's dark. It made just the production very poor. It made it amateurish. If you're following it from the TV screens outside and behind you, Speaker, it looked like we're some parliament in one of the poorest countries in the world that could not even afford basic facilities or to buy a bulb. So there are things that obviously they could not know beforehand, but I think the venue is suitable for the solution that we need in the short term while we're looking for a more long-term solution. But if we're saying Parliament must go back to work, we must not exclude portfolio committees from that, because then there's a tendency to say plenary Parliament, the sitting must go back, but when it comes to portfolio committees, we still want to attend portfolio committees using our cell phones, which is not effective. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Kwankwa. Honorable Swart.
Good morning, Speaker. Good morning to my colleagues. I just want to share your sentiment, Speaker, that and to thank parliamentary staff for yesterday. I think it went relatively well under the circumstances, and I think this venue for the immediate short term, one can look at seating arrangements. Maybe one can have more MPs in that venue, but I do think for the immediate short term, it was sufficient. We can improve a couple of aspects. I think also just to commend these parliamentary staff on the lockup venues as well. We were in M46 and we were really grateful for the way that was used as well, which seems to indicate that committees can meet in some of the venues. M46, there are a number of venues where committees would be able to speak once that decision is made. But Speaker, we look forward to the report. We did express concerns about the Sunday Times report about R1 million a day, but we're thankful that Parliament did resolve that and said that was no indication of costs. There's no costing as yet. So we look forward to the report that we will discuss at a later stage. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Swart. Honorable Mazoni, I see you. Is that the old hand or is it a new one?
Madam Speaker, it's a new hand, if I may.
Allow me then to invite those who have not spoken as yet. Honorable Ntlangwini, followed by Honorable Frolic.
No, thank you very much, Speaker. I concur fully with the Honorable Mkalipi. Speaker, we need to try to find things to more normality as we have taken kids back to school. We also need to get things to more normality as Parliament. I want to also comment also on your opening statement. Really, we need to work on a bigger venue, finding a bigger venue. I know that report is still yet to come in front of us as to the venues and how we are looking for them and what possible revenues we can use to get a proper venue for Parliament sittings. But the one of yesterday, really, the camera didn't do justice to the setup. And it was anyway a small venue, and we knew that from the get-go. And also the second thing, on the Zoom platform, members were struggling to really get in. Some members of mine struggled maybe 30 minutes in, they were still in a holding room, and IT was just not responsive fast enough. So they also need to just come to the party when it's hybrid. They must know that they must allow members quicker into the sitting. And also this thing, I want to also concur with the Honorable Kalipi pertaining to the committees, because we have several times where members of our party are just thrown out of committees, and when they are raising hard questions or questions that the chairperson or the other members of the committee don't want to hear, and they are just simply just kicked out of the committee. Those issues needs to be addressed, Speaker, that you can't, when people are not asking you favorable questions, and then you just feel alarmed, you just kick them out. We are dampening members to doing their work and fulfilling their constitutional mandate and to do their work as members of parliament. So something needs to give, that all of this committee chairpersons needs to be taken through training, to say you can't just kick members out of parliament, out of committees just when you feel like it. They are not asking questions that you feel you don't want to answer, or you don't feel that the departments don't need to answer. I know it frequently happens if you want me to make an example, it frequently does happen. Previously used to happen in the health committee, where our Fight and Our Lady have been frequently kicked out of that committee. So something needs to give. We can't continue to working like this. Committee rooms needs to be sourced, that especially when it's important committees, that they need to have more physical sessions. I mean, we are parliament. We can't be failing to get committee rooms or to do our work as members of parliament. More effort needs to be given, chairperson, as a Parliament of South Africa, so that we don't look clumsy as we have looked yesterday. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Ntlangwini. My next speaker on the list is Honorable Frolick.
No, good morning, Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members. I just want to align myself, Speaker, with the comments made by the Honorable Swart. There are indeed committee rooms that can be used in Parliament. And the problem that we have is that quite a few of those committee rooms, especially the National Assembly, is out of question, it's been destroyed, but also those in the old assembly area towards the NCOP. The problem is that we don't have access to those facilities yet. However, there are committees who are actually physically meeting in Parliament. It is possible to do so, but it is very limited. Now, you ask yourself, what's the other option? The other option, Speaker, is that we make use of facilities around Parliament, but those are private businesses, and they run businesses. They have conference centers in hotels. And in the past, when we made use of them, they don't only allow you to come in there for an hour or two to have your meeting. You must buy a conference package for all the attendees, which is costing a lot of money. A 3-hour session for the morning can easily run to between 60,000 to 90,000 rand per meeting. And that is pre-COVID rates that I'm talking about. So the administration is fully aware of the challenges that we are experiencing. Secondly, Speaker, I cannot comment on what a specific chairperson says in a meeting, or when there is an interruption coming to say this or that to him. I will request the honorable members, like they have done in the past, especially from the EFF, that they experience a problem in the health committee, to put it in writing and to raise the specific circumstance. I can't generalize here to say it's all the chairpersons and all the chairpersons must be retrained. I don't think that is correct, Speaker. Specific incidents must be put in writing, and then I'll be able to have a discussion with those chairpersons. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Frolik. Honorable Siviwe Kwahube.
Thank you very much, Speaker. Just perhaps what I thought I wanted to add to this discussion is slightly related, but not related. In terms of the fact that we obviously are utilizing the temporary venue of the Good Hope Chamber, can I ask, Speaker, and to the rest of the committee, if we can please make a decision that the oral question session in particular, that I know we've got one on the peace and security cluster that is coming up, I think next week, that can we make an undertaking that ministers are made to understand that they should at all cost be able to be in the House at least when those oral questions are being posed to them. They know who the clusters are, and therefore they should be able to make those arrangements. The reason why I say this, Speaker, is because while I align myself with the members that have indicated that we've got to get back to work in earnest, and I know that that report is still coming through about alternative venues. But while we're working with the Good Hope Chamber at the moment, I think if we can perhaps make a decision that it will be communicated to the executive that they should be in the House, it makes for better oral session question when members and the ministers and the executive counterparts are in the House to be able to answer questions. We have seen, Speaker, in the past where questions will be posed to ministers and they'd have issues, whether foreseen or unforeseen, with their connection and the like. And I think that the accountability session would be a lot stronger if we then say that the ministers, who at least those who are affected by that oral question session, then are actually in the House, even though that venue is small. And I think we should encourage parties as well, that if your member is asking questions, that we should try by all means to have those members prioritized to be in the House. I think that it goes very far in terms of ensuring that accountability session in Parliament actually runs smoothly, as it has not obviously in the past in the past 2 years. And then the last thing, the Speaker, on my side, is the unanswered written questions, and there are a couple that were lapsed at the end of last year, and I think again, as a committee, it would send a very strong message if we can submit to you all the ministers who have failed to answer their questions within the stipulated time, so that that can be communicated to them, and they must understand that it's not going to be tolerated and that those answers must be forthcoming. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Kwahube. That was the last hand of new hands on the system. I will now go back to you, Honorable Mazoni, followed by Honorable Njangweni. However, I do want to say to you, both of you, that I have noted the conversation on the charts, and it is a matter that will be attended to. In other words, I am requesting that I invite you to speak on any other matter related to what we have been discussing, rather than what is on the chart, because that which is on the chart, I know it will prolong the discussion here on this platform this morning. I invite you to take the floor there.
Thank you very, very much, Madam Speaker. The chat is just absolute nonsense that's going on. That's why I don't bother talking about it. I put it on the chat group. I wouldn't want to bore you or make this meeting look silly in any way. Madam Speaker, what I did forget to ask you, would it be a good idea if you met with the chief whips when you have got your report ready, and perhaps we sit down together around a table and discuss with you in person the different venues? Because I find the Zoom venue very handy for many things, but I do think that speaking to each other one-on-one, I think we've seen it in Parliament, you do. On Zoom, you miss things like nuances, and you miss people nodding in agreement and things like that. And I wonder if it's at all possible next week when you have your report to call us together. I'm sure most of us are around. There are many rooms in the Marks building that you could use that are big enough to have a meeting of the Chief Whips Forum, because I realize that your offices and areas there are a bit difficult at the moment. But I think it would do so much good if we all come together and ventilate our ideas and hear what you have to say in person, so that we really get to grips with what you found, and we're able to get past things like nuances or any misunderstandings face to face. And that's all I would like, Madam Speaker, because I think that a face-to-face meeting about something of this size, this magnitude, would be much better done in person than on a Zoom platform. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mazzoni. I'm sure the Chief Whip of the majority party has taken cognizance of that, and that we will be allowed accordingly to join you in your meeting of the Chief Whips to present the report. Honorable Ntlangwini, then Honorable Mkalipi, and then I will allow Masibulele Xaso to then respond to the issues raised here. And beyond that, I will not allow any other hand on the first item, which was just the opening remarks, really. Thank you very much. You have the floor, Honorable Ntlangwini.
Thank you very much, Speaker. Speaker, that was an old legendary hand. And then don't worry about the pettiness that is happening in the chat groups. Speaker, that's fine. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable
Honorable
Mkalipi.
But Speaker, with due respect, Natasha Mazzoni can't tell us how to speak in this forum. That chat that she's putting there. No, Speaker. No, she
Honorable,
must.
why don't you allow me to speak on the matter later? Because I did say that I've observed, I've noted what is in the chat. Honorable Mkalipi, why are you going back to that? Please, I beg of you not to go back to that. I will speak on the matter later. Masibulele Xaso.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, we have taken note of the issues raised about the venue. Certainly, we are attending to them. We are aware of the issues. Secondly, on the matter of unanswered questions, that's a matter for the Rules Committee, Madam Speaker, and a report will be submitted to the Rules Committee for it to consider what steps to take. And last week, this committee agreed that in 2 weeks' time, a report on venues will be submitted, and there will be a special meeting on that matter. So that is the report, ma'am, that I would like to give. Thank you.
Thank you very much. When you say there will be a special meeting on that, what special meeting, when will that be, Mr. Class?
Ma'am, we're counting 2 weeks from the 17th. The decision was taken last week, and we were then asked in 2 weeks' time to come back. Our understanding at the time was that it would be the program committee, but we are happy to take advice on the matter, whether it must be at the program committee or another structure. But the decision was taken by this committee. Thanks.
Okay, so you are counting 2 weeks, which means it will be next week. Am I correct?
Madam Speaker, the decision was taken last week, Thursday. This is the first week, and next week is the second week.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Honorable members, what that means is that the report from the senior officials on the different proposals, options which are there, will be presented at the next meeting. And as proposed, we will take the matter to the Chief Whips Forum first, before the matter is brought to the programming committee, so that there can be an engagement on the matters if needs be. And lastly, just to say, honorable members, Honorable Mazzoni, honorable members, please, I know that there is a chat, and the chat is not a private conversation between one or two people. Once you put a matter on the chat, it draws the attention of everybody. And I do not think some of the remarks which you make sometimes, honorable members, amongst yourselves on the chat are good. I note the matter of the language which you are raising, which is used in this meeting, and I would like to caution members not to use language which may be not necessarily in sync with our language here in Parliament as honorable members. That is all I would like to say here, but I do not want to see any sniping of one another on the chat, because all of us read these messages and are therefore subjected to the kind of torture they tend to have on honorable members who are sitting on this platform. But equally, remember, we have senior officials who sit here on this platform, and I do not think it is correct that we should be, we should be making remarks which are offensive to one another. I do make a plea to all of you. I see a new hand from Honorable Singh.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Now, just on that issue, I agree with you completely. Can we then, arising from the report back, can we pencil in the Chief Whip's Forum 2nd of March, subject to the Chief Whip agreeing a physical meeting, because that's a closed meeting, so we can have discussions. Would that be at all suitable? A physical meeting in Parliament? Thank you.
Thank you very much. If I may invite the Chief Whip of the Majority Party, there are proposals made, one a physical meeting, and that this report should be first presented to the Chief Whip's Forum. Honorable Majotina.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members. Honorable Speaker, I concur for a physical meeting in a closed session so that we can be able to find one another, we can be able to canvass ideas of one another and be able to reach certain consensus. I fully concur with that. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members. Thank you very much.
So, Speaker, we look forward to hosting you at the Max building, the building of the opposition.
Why don't you wait for the Chief Whip of the Majority Party, who is the convener of that forum, to make a proposal as to where the meeting should be. Honorable.
When Kwangwa don't take my power, don't you set power, Kwangwa?
I told the Chief Whip of the Majority Party that let us go to Gauteng, and she agreed on the Chief Whip's Forum, Speaker.
Hey, Chief Whip's Forum in Gauteng now.
We'll meet in Zwane.
Hey, honorable members, that's another discussion, a discussion for another day. Thank you, honorable members. I see Masmulele has his hand up again.
Ma'am, just two issues. Honorable Kwahube has just sent a reminder about the issue she raised about ministers.
Yes.
That's the first one. Secondly, with your permission, ma'am, can I block the chat group for now so that we...
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Castle.
Don't block the chat group. Tell that woman to stop her nonsense. That's all. She must not think we're her workers here.
Honorable members, Honorable members.
Yeah, Jane, go back to military training.
Go back to school when a fake lawyer degree. You can't tell us anything when
Go act like a
whiteness does not resonate with us there when Amazon. You're nothing but a fake one. You're a fake white person.
Yeah, we must block some of these members from the group completely.
No, honorable members, we are adults here. Not only are we adults, we are leaders of our parties. I do not think we should conduct ourselves in the manner in which you are doing, Honorable Mkalipi and Honorable Mazon. I do not think it is correct to use the kind of language you are using on this platform. We are honorable members. Not only are we sitting here in this meeting, but we are also, this meeting tends to be very big, and I know that it is an open meeting, and therefore you also have people who are not necessarily coming from political parties who join this meeting, for instance, from the members of the media. I do not think it is correct of us to conduct ourselves in such an irresponsible manner. I take a serious exception to the kind of language which members use on a platform of this nature, and I do want us to refrain from doing that, honorable members. I do want us to refrain from doing that, and I do want to really make the point that if it happens again, honorable members, I will request those who are co-hosting here to remove, to take you out, to lock you out of the system, honorable members. It can't be that every time we are going to be subjected to an exchange amongst yourselves, 2 people, 3 people, it's not right. It's just not right. Don't do it. That is why I said, stop using the chat to snipe at one another. And thank you, Masbulele Kaso, for closing the chat. And I do request that from now onwards, we do not use it at the meetings of the programming committee. If there's any matter to be raised, it should be raised here, and we discuss that matter. I thank you. Honorable Imam Sheikh, I'm sorry I missed your hand.
Speaker, my hand is also up.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I think you, Madam Speaker, you have covered me to a very large extent. But in my observation, listening to the entire discussion this morning, the question I'd like to pose is, in the absence of any new business to be discussed, because a lot of what we've been hearing is a repetition, we've been hearing it every week since we've had a problem. Is it necessary to have a programming committee meeting every Thursday if there is no new business to introduce? Maybe it's something we need to look at, Madam Speaker, because there's no point in coming, a good example is on the issue of venue and things. We've said we're waiting for a report in 2 weeks and things, but we come and we spend a lot of time discussing exactly the same thing again. And I think it's unnecessary. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Imam Sheikh. I must say that I share your sentiments, and you are correct. The tendency for us is to have the same items on the agenda for discussion. But when I was in my orientation, when I came in here, I was informed that Thursday morning, for as long there is a session of Parliament, it is a day for programming committee. Until the decision here is taken that if there are no new items on the agenda of the programming committee, that's when I can take a decision not to convene this meeting. But if there isn't such a proposal from honorable members, then I do not think I would be the one to take the decision. And maybe at this point, actually, we should allow for a discussion very briefly of that matter, whether we should have this programming committee on a weekly basis, or we should hold the programming committees if and when it is necessary to do so. Thank you, Honorable Imam Sheikh. Honorable Ntlangwini.
Thank you very much, Speaker. Speaker, you know, this matter, I've been persisting each and every meeting. And if you can go and take all of the recordings of all of the programming committees and the chief whips meetings, the Honorable Mazoni have been guilty every time an EFF member is speaking, then she goes to the chat and throw the jabs there in the chat. And it's unfortunate that when we respond, it's only then taken up with us because we are responding. And that is wrong. I mean, we have been calling each other battalion since with the inception of this term, the 44 battalion, and it have never been a problem. So I don't know why all of a sudden now that is now noted today as an unacceptable language to call the EFF the 44 battalion. It's not an unparliamentary word, and she does it all the time. Go to that chat rooms, throw jabs each and every meeting. After every time an EFF member is speaking, she does it her work to go to that meetings and or to go to that chat and to do the jabs there. And then when we respond, it's now us that is the sinners that are responding. And it's very problemsome that she does that and she gets away with it. And then it's the EFF that must take the fall when it responds to her abuse that she's doing in these chat rooms. We have said to her many a times, this chat room is not your chat room. It's not your house. Stop doing this thing that you are doing in this chat rooms. And she persists that, and she does that all the time. And that is how white supremacists are. They do those things. And then when you are responding, you will, unfortunately, because your skin is not the favorite skin in our country because you are black, and then you are getting attacked. So she mustn't do that. It's very painful what she's doing. She mustn't do that. Right. She mustn't do that.
Honorable Ntlangwini, honorable members, I think we've noted that. No more use of the chat group. If there's any matter to be noted or observation to be made, it will be made honestly here on the platform by a member, because I must say that most of the time I do miss what is on the chat, because I've not been reading the chats. I think I've read the chat once or twice. This is the second time. So I do want to request honorable members once more that you see now, that which is coming out of Ntlangwini, it's going to be perceived as a well-divided programming committee. Yes, honorable members, we are here representing political parties. And I do not want at any point to be making statements and at one another or insults or even jabs for that matter, which may suggest that there are racial divisions in the programming committee. I really hate that, and therefore I do want, with all due respect, and Honorable Mazoni, I see your hand is up, and I'm not going to allow you to talk to this matter. All that I am use this kind of language. Of course, we're not the same skin. Of course, we're not the same color, but we are the same blood, and we are here representing our members. And please, let us stop these jabs. It's not necessary, honorable members. I will not allow it. And as I have said, the co-hosts will then have to throw people out because they tend to prolong the meeting, and it's strenuous, honorable members. It is strenuous. We can't be retrogressing instead of moving. Let's move forward. And sometimes this matter may be actually perceived as a personal clash between 2 or 3 people. It's not right. This is not a meeting meant for that. And I'm saying this with all due respect to both yourself, Honorable Mazoni and Honorable Jangweni. It's not going to happen again. We will not entertain it because I do not think it is correct for other members to be subjected to this unhealthy exchange or dialogue amongst yourselves. It can't be correct. I now proceed. We're not going to discuss this matter again. I'm not going to recognize your hand, Honorable Mazoni. You have spoken twice at this meeting on one matter. I will now, together with your hand, Honorable Jangweni, please take them down. I will now invite Honorable Korenhoff and then Honorable Kwakwa. Thank you.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, I fully support your pronouncement that you just made. I want to add one thing, and I think that's a suggestion, that you call the two members who was chatting on the chat room to your office and have a discussion one-on-one with him. It's totally unacceptable what happened in this meeting this morning. Secondly, you're asking about the NAPC. Speaker, you are the chair of this meeting. It's for you to decide how you want to run your NAPC meeting. Historically, this is a maximum a half-hour meeting because it's business-like. There are certain fixed items on the agenda. It's for every member to be updated. What will happen is happening in the moment in the NA, what will happen in the next week. Media is allowed. And this is a half-an-hour meeting that is a meeting of minds where we get together, discuss the program, see the way forward. And I think you may want to go back to that situation where we have items of common interest in this for 30 minutes. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Korenhoff, for that. Really helps me. It really does. Honorable Kwankwa, and this is the last speaker. I mean, we've not even started with the first item, Honorable Members. This was a discussion based on the is 9:15, and we started at 8:30. For 45 minutes, we're just discussing one thing. Thank you very much, Honorable Korenhoff. Honorable Kwangwa.
Yes, Speaker, sorry, I understand your frustration. Well, the issue here, indeed, Speaker, I think Dr. Korenhoff has actually taken the words out of my mouth. I think you'd have to have a discussion offline with the colleagues, but Honorable Jangweni isn't it right? We also need to be honest in these meetings as colleagues. Honorable Jangweni isn't it right that at times Honorable Mazone does have a tendency of throwing political jabs at the EFF using the chat platform. But obviously you can discuss those details later. But I think, Speaker, the issue for me that would be, indeed, the meeting is supposed to take 30 minutes and not longer than that. I think we discuss a lot, or we have a tendency now of turning it into, I think, a political forum where we discuss a lot of peripheral issues. If we were to be business-like in the programming committee, we would be able to achieve our goals. The other thing is, if you don't call the programming committee, my understanding is that the Chief Whips Forum is a consultative forum. Whatever discussions we have there are not final until they've been confirmed by the programming committee. Generally, what happens is that you might find that 90% of what's contained in the program doesn't change. It's only one or two items. Then what would happen to those one or two items that would crop up per week? I needed to actually raise that issue, flag it as a question. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, honorable members. We've now come to the end of this matter. There's a proposal which has been made by Honorable Korenhoff, supported by Honorable Kwankwa, is that the Speaker should hold a meeting with the two people, namely Honorable Mazoni and Honorable Jangweni. And I promise you that this shall be done outside of meeting, offline here. I will contact you, Honorable Mazoni, on Honorable Kwankwa, so that Honorable Jangweni, so that we discuss these matters, so that there isn't a repetition of what has been happening in these meetings. I end on that note. Then will you take us through the minutes and I do want you to take note of what has been raised, which is that this meeting was meant to be. It has always been 30 minutes. I wasn't aware of that, but from now onwards, I will also ensure that the meeting takes no more than 30 minutes. From the minutes, are members happy with the minutes as they are, or are there any amendments to the minutes or corrections?
Shouldn't we adopt the agenda, Madam Speaker?
Oh, I've even forgotten that we haven't adopted the agenda. Thank you very much, Deputy Speaker. Could you please go ahead and
move. I
Thank
move
you
that we adopt.
Sheikh Imam seconds.
Thank you very much, honorable members, and thank you for that correction. Shall we then proceed to look at matters arising? And the first matter arising out of that is the alternative venue. And as it has been decided, honorable members, this report will be submitted to a Chief Whip's Forum next week on Wednesday. The second matter, which is also arising out of the minutes, is that of the motion of no confidence. Yes?
Sorry, Madam Speaker. I guess the little storm earlier created a bit of a havoc. Can we just sort out the corrections first and then adopt the minutes and then go into matters arising?
Oh, thank you very much, Honorable Chisa. Can you help us with the corrections and help us with the adoption of the minutes if you can, please? I'm just looking at the fact that we are now almost an hour and we are far from feeling we've not done half of the agenda we have. Any corrections which you've noted?
No, not me, ma'am. I don't have any corrections.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Thank you. Will you please move for the adoption of the minutes, Deputy Speaker?
I do.
Thank you. I now proceed to deal with the matters arising, which was the venue, which is a matter which we have discussed earlier on and agreed that next week the matter should be tabled before the Forum of Chief Whips in a physical meeting, and that will be on Wednesday. That's when the Chief Whips meet. The second matter is a matter which was raised here again, which was in fact raised during the State of the Nation address, and subsequently to that, I received a note from the Democratic Alliance, and I have since responded to the letter of the DA and indicated that after the prescribed consultation with the leader of government, business, and Chief Whip, a date will be presented to the programming committee on that matter. I am yet to finalize that process. Next week, we should be able to receive a report on that. Then there were concerns which were raised with regards to the Electoral Amendment Bill. As you are aware, I have since, honorable members, approved a request to approach the Constitutional Court for an extension as it was agreed. We have also briefed the state attorney. So Advocate Adikari is currently dealing with that matter. Then the other matter was raised, which was the last, which is the substantive issue, is a matter related to international conferences as well as in future. Just to say that they had a report on the matter and that a list of reports that would have to be revived if they are meant for consideration by the House. A list of reports, another one is to be published in March 2022. And this is working with the House Chairperson's office around which ones of the reports are to be considered by the House. On the matter of sector reports, the Secretary of the National Assembly will soon table a proposal for consideration by my office on how these reports could be processed within Parliament. So those are the matters related to international conferences and the issue raised very strongly last week on reports of the legislative sector to which should be considered in the future. So that's the report I have for now. Honorable members, are there any comments on the report brief report I've just presented? I see no hands on the system. Should I then proceed, honorable members, to recognize Advocate Dawu to take us through the committee section report?
Good morning, Madam Speaker.
Honorable members? Wait, Honorable Dawu.
Good morning, Madam Speaker, honorable members.
And I'm asking for us to proceed that you don't want to wait to be invited. It's okay because I don't see hands, people are quiet. Well, it means they're consenting to this. Advocate Dawu.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, honorable members and colleagues. In the interest of time, I will talk to 4 slides. The other slides where there are updates is for information. I will go to slide number 4, Madam Speaker. On this slide, it's just to indicate that the Electoral Law Second Amendment Bill, which is a private member's bill, has now been finalized. The committee has passed a motion of desirability on the 22nd. And on slide number 8, on this slide, the National Environmental Laws Amendment Bill, which was returned from the NCOP, has been finalized by the committee on the 18th. And on slide number 9, on this slide, the Electoral Laws Amendment Bill, the Committee on Home Affairs has revised its program. It will conduct public hearings during the month of March, and the plan is to finalize the bill on the 16th of May. The last slide is slide number 15. On this slide is just to indicate to members that the Committee on Section 194 inquiry met on the 22nd of February to adopt the terms of reference as well as the program, and the program is indicated on the slide. The aim of the committee is to finalize its work on the 21st of September. This concludes our report, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Ndati Mongane Dawu. Honorable members, that was a report from the Bills Committee. I don't see hands. Shall we proceed to the report on, there was a report on the committee section. We now proceed to the Bills report.
Thank you.
That's Bells. Mbata.
Yes.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Good morning.
Will you do as Advocate Dawu did, please, and touch on the salient issues you want us to note or discuss and proceed?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I will do that. The 2 bills that are on the order paper for consideration The Bills Office is working on their second languages, and after consideration and concurrence, they will be sent to the President for assent. And I will only report that their second languages, the National Forest second language is Afrikaans, and the NEMA Law's second language is Afrikaans, isiXhosa, Setswana, and isiZulu. And in section C, we have the Division of Revenue and Appropriation Bill, which were introduced yesterday. And the two bills will be referred to the Appropriations Committee following the adoption of the fiscal framework. And lastly, Honorable Speaker, we've highlighted two recently introduced bills. They appear in section D, and they have been referred to the relevant committees for consideration. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mbata. Thank you. Thank you. Honorable members, comments? Or is there anything which you believe we've left out of the report of the bills from the bills team? None.
Good progress and update, Madam Speaker.
Yes?
No,
Yes,
I was
Honorable.
saying it's good progress and an update that's useful here.
Thank you very much, Deputy Speaker. Shall we then proceed to deal with the draft parliamentary program?
Honorable Speaker, can I start through your permission?
Yes, 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 yes. Yes, yes, Honorable Suma.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, and good morning, colleagues and honorable members. Honorable Speaker, I would not necessarily go through week by week, but I will highlight areas that we thought that are important, but I will also allow me to read the international fora that Parliament is represented and the other important bodies that Parliament is represented, which I will, from the 2nd of March to the 14th of March, there will be a SADC PF executive meeting. And secondly, from the 14th to the 15th of March, there will be a hybrid meeting of the 66th Commission of Status of Women and Side event that will take place, which is going to be hybrid from the 20th to the 24th of March. At Bali, Indonesia, there will be a 144th IPU assembly and related meetings that will be held. And fourthly, on the 29th of March, there will be 6th session of the OSCPS Parliamentary Assembly, and also the 41st session that will be sitting of the ACP, EU, and GPA sittings that will take place. And the last one, which is the fifth activity or work, will be on from the 4th of April to the 8th of April. Judicial Service Commission will be sitting, Honorable Speaker. Before I go through the program in a summarized form, may I make these 4 comments, honorable members, that the international conferences and report of the legislature, they will be scheduled for tabling before the House when they have been 80 seats for them to go through having been 80 seats.
Thank you. Are you done, Honorable Lesuma? Honorable Lesuma? Are you there, Honorable
Madam Speaker, she might be having. Madam Speaker.
Secondly, it lapsed so that those items will be revived. Honorable Speaker, okay, let me switch off my camera then, thanks. The third point is I've spoken to the third point, Honorable Speaker. The very last one, on the 8th of March, also we are suggesting that we hold a debate in the House for the International Women's Day, which is factored here, but I will then quickly go to the program, but I was highlighting the ones that we thought that are important worth noting, which is different from what was presented before the Chief Whips Forum yesterday, even in last week. So it is here on week, just go down so that we can see the week, please. It's week 7. What I think, Honorable Speaker, the program is still the same. One on Mondays is the constituent day. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday are sittings. But what is important that we'd like also to for members' attention is the mini plenaries that we hope that the political parties have submitted their topics for debate as per the schedule that is reflected on the program. It's somewhere further up, that is the DA, EFF, and the ANC that is scheduled for their submission of their motions for debate in the mini plenaries. Other than that, Honorable Speaker, if there are any questions that would gladly take those questions between myself and Mr. Kaso, we'd gladly do so. I can see that the one that has been by ANC have already submitted. We are waiting then for the DA and EFF, which will be populated in the program. If I may read the ANC one, which is for the mini plenaries, which is going to be a virtual platform. The subject is expanding the comprehensive social security system to leave no one behind. The second one on the second mini plenary will be, it's a topic or a subject that is sponsored by Honorable Mutle, which says that strengthening the security cluster and mobilizing society for peace and stability in South Africa, in the region and in Africa. So we will be then populating the DAs and EFF upon submission, Chair. Thank you very much.
I thank you, Honorable Isuma, for the report. I see that there are 2 hands, Honorable Ntombela Madala, and then Honorable Siviwe Kwahobe.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Good morning. And good morning, colleagues.
Honorable Ntombela.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Good morning and good morning to the colleagues. Madam Speaker, when Honorable Lusoma was speaking about the reports, the lines suddenly went bad. I couldn't hear what she was saying, but I wanted to. Hello? Can you hear me, Madam Speaker? Oh my word. Madam Speaker. Oh.
We can hear you, Ntombela. You are very audible.
Okay, I wanted to respond on the question of the
We can
reports
hear you.
because-
Continue,
Yeah.
Ntombela. You can't hear me? Honorable Member.
Madam Speaker, I wanted, yes.
Proceed, Ntombela.
Madam Speaker.
Proceed. Yes,
Yes, thank you.
Ntombela. We can hear you. You
I
are
wanted to respond, yes, but Madam I wanted to respond to Madam to Honorable Lesuma about the reports, the international reports, but I couldn't hear what she was saying because the line went bad. So I wanted to request Madam Speaker, through her permission, that she should repeat what she said, because besides that, I was supposed to have given a report. I was supposed to have given a response about the issue that was raised by the chief whip of the majority party last week, if Speaker allows.
Okay, Honorable Ntombela. Honorable Kwahobe.
Thank you, Speaker. Bengicela uphinda ndisirklishe back kulamba bendiwurizile Speaker ngendaba ye oral question session. Ndiyabona apha kwi-program into yobana sine oral question session ye peace and security next week. So bengicela ke ba ungayenza noba i-pronouncement nayo into yobana sizayicela i-executive ikwazi uba khona. Yeah.
In fact, Honorable Kwahobe, it will be a matter of reiterating what has been said before. I know that even when I was still in the executive executive. The Honorable Chief Whip of the Majority Party always insisted and would always remind members of the executive to answer questions from the House. We will do that, but it won't be a new thing. It's something which has been said before by the party to which the honorable members belong. And in fact, it also came out, if I remember well, as a directive to members of the executive. So it will not be a new thing. It's just a matter of reminding honorable members. I hope I am correct, Honorable Chief Whip of the Majority Party, Majortina. Can you comment on the matter, please?
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, indeed you are correct, but I think we must note as well as this House that the hybrid session is still allowed. It is within the rules. The physical attendance is not a force by this particular time, but what we are saying is that members must avail themselves. So they can also connect on a visual platform, but what is needed is their presence in terms of responding to questions. Because I'm afraid if we're going to take physical as if you are not in the House physically in the Good Hope chamber, therefore you are absent. I just want to make that caution. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Majortina. I must say that I'm also very confused now, because the last I knew, you were trying to enforce us that those who are in the executive, when they respond to questions, should make it possible, not unless there is an absolute emergency, in spite of the fact that we have a hybrid system. So if it is not enforceable now, it's something which we should take note of. There is a proposal on the table from Honorable Kwahube that as much as possible, people should respond to questions from the chamber. Are there any further comments, honorable members, on the matter?
Yes, Honorable, not on the matter, Honorable Speaker.
Thank
in
you,
relation to Honorable Ntombela's point, if I may.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. What I meant, although I highlighted those two bodies, the international and the reports from the legislature, but generally all the reports, there had to be 80 seats before they get, or we scheduled them for the programming to be tabled before the House. It was a general comment. It's just that I highlighted that for just because last time it was raised that there are reports that are pending somewhere. And I just wanted to say there has to be 80 seats before they get reflected before the programming program, Honorable Speaker. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Honorable Lisuma. Honorable Kwangwa.
Kwangwa, speak.
I've got it. Kwangwa.
I agree, Deputy Speaker, I agree with I want to support Honorable Kwahube that remember we keep on saying the intention is to improve our oversight work. And we do this lacking in the background, even the State Capture Commission report, which keeps on talking about how we might have failed to properly oversee the work of the executive. So it's important that these oral sessions are indeed held physically instead of virtually, because they tend to lose meaning, really. So we support the call.
Thank you very much, Honorable Kwangwa. There was another hand here, Honorable Ndate Dombela.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I think Honorable Suma has covered me. And then I want to request, Madam Speaker, that I provide the report on the concern of the Chief Whip of the Majority Party regarding the whole issue of protocols that seem not to be referred to Parliament, as she was concerned about in the previous meeting. I would like to provide a report maybe in our next coming meeting, if Speaker allows. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Okay, are you ready with the report? Are you ready?
Yes, Madam Speaker.
Are you
we
ready
do
with the
have-
report, Ntombela,
Yes, we do have a report, Madam Speaker.
on the protocols?
Yes, Madam Speaker, we do have that. We do have a response to that.
Please proceed.
Oh, okay. Now, following the concern expressed by the Chief Whip of the Majority Party in our most recent NAPC about protocols which seem not to be referred to Parliament, we have since compiled a list of all those reports that were 80-seat, 39 of them on the international engagements. And if maybe a committee is interested in getting those reports, we can make them available speedily. Besides the 39, there are 12 of the reports that are still to be published in the next reporting cycle. And I've since realized, Madam Speaker, that maybe with the reports that have been 80-seat, we did not put it clearly whether these are the reports to be considered. So in our next publications, we'll try to make it possible that Parliament should be aware of the reports that need to be considered. Now, the delegation of reports the reports that I'm talking about are those that were handled at the PGIR of the 14th of May last year, of September, and the coming PGIR on the 4th of March. We will be doing that, and then we'll try to make it possible for Parliament to be aware of what we're requesting Parliament to do, because there are those reports that need to be attended to speedily. We have since, Madam Speaker, forwarded an advisory note for tabling at the NA on the issue of vaccine and online sexual exploitation. And if Speaker allows, I had made an arrangement with Mr. Sitole, the division manager of IRPD, to elaborate on this issue of the protocols, if Speaker allows. Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, can I request Babu Sitole to come in?
I think the system has taken her out.
The speaker has lost the connection.
Yeah, speaker is having difficulty connecting. Is Deputy Speaker still on the platform? If Deputy Speaker may chair so long. While we are
please proceed, Honorable Member.
I was requesting Stola should.
No, please, I hear that. I said proceed.
Okay, thank you, Stola. Babu Sitole.
PGIR has processed 9 reports that have been 80-seat. And in those 39 reports that have been 80-seat, we normally attach the executive summary of the report. In that executive summary, it's basically the summarized version of resolutions that were taken in international forum that we will probably, with the guidance, further uplift for Parliament to either debate. But just to give an example, what we will normally do when we 80-seat the report, we will give a summary document that says to members of Parliament, this is a resolution, and these are the steps that we suggest should be taken to further process that particular resolution. So the 12 reports that have not been published to the 80-seat are the reports that will serve before the PGIR on the 4th of March. And once they've been processed by PGIR, they will then be submitted for the 80-seat. I think the issue is how we lift those reports and the summaries that may have to be referred to either committees or other sections of Parliament to process them. And I think that's an area that we need to refine so as to ensure that these reports address not only 80C and published, but they find some expression in some other structures of Parliament. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you, Deputy Speaker.
Thank you very much, Dadis Tole. I see there's a hand. I don't know if it's an old hand from Honorable Kwangwa.
I think it's an old hand from that matter we had raised about the minister's speaker.
Okay, thank you very much, honorable members. I've noted the comments, and I've also noted the presentation by Ndate Ndombela. Honorable members, could we please proceed with our items on the agenda? And that is now we are at a point where we should be receiving announcements, if there are any announcements at all. Are there any announcements, Mr. Castle?
Not from my side, Madam Speaker. There are no announcements.
Honorable members, any announcements? I thank you, honorable members, if there are none. And that brings us... I
see a hand, Madam Speaker. I see the hand of Honorable Kwahobe.
Sorry, Speaker. I just want to, just for my own understanding, then just conclude that we have now then agreed that there will be, at least from the chief whip of the majority party, to communicate to the executive about the need for them to be in the House, unless under extenuating circumstances. I had requested that the NAPC at least makes, expresses themselves on this. So I just want to find out what then the conclusion is. Thanks.
Well, honorable member, I heard the chief whip saying that we continue to have hybrid sittings, and therefore it may not necessarily be possible if people have good reasons not to be here, that and they are available on the virtual system, we should still take it as being in the House, because what is important is the ability of the member of the executive to respond to questions which we raise in the House. Of course, it will be communicated to members of the executive that first and foremost, it would be advisable that a member is in the House. And if the member is unable to be in the House, a member at least should be available even on the hybrid system. So we will convey that, and I'm saying this won't be the first time that this matter is communicated, but we will communicate from our side. I don't know if that satisfies you, honorable members.
Yeah, Speaker, I suppose we can accept it. It's just, a recommendation is not the same as a decision taken by the NAPC, but I take your point, but let's see how then the ministers are responding to that suggestion. And I think then, Speaker, we can discuss it again if we see that, there's, there isn't an effort to have people in the House. As we said, of course, they are on the virtual platform, but the reality is that the work of Parliament is not that it's hindered on a virtual platform, but it's far more effective when we can be in person. But let's see how it goes with the suggestion by yourselves to them, and we'll monitor them.
Speaker. Speaker.
Yes.
No, I'm not sure if you saw my hand on this very same question.
I did actually, and I recognized you, and you were quiet from your side until Honorable Kwahobe suggested that it could be an old hand. You have the floor.
Call, Mama. Well, I think it's important how we package and communicate this message to the executive. Otherwise, if we make it optional for them to come to Parliament, they will never come to Parliament. They will find every available excuse to be on virtual platform. So it's important that we make it clear to them that they are not doing us a favor by coming to Parliament. Actually, it's what they're supposed to do. It must only, as Honorable Gwachube put it, it must only be under difficult circumstances where we can actually see that it's impossible for the minister or a member of the executive to come, where they're not able to come. Otherwise, they're just going to provide us with a list of excuses. We can't treat them as celebrities when they're...
No, okay. Honorable Kwang, if I may say, I know that this matter, Chief Whip, as I said earlier on, has been seized with it, but I also do want to assure you that from the office of the Speaker, we will communicate your sentiments to the members of the executive. And I hope that closes the matter. Thank you. Honorable Chisa.
No, Madam Speaker, you've closed it. I just wanted to really let members be aware that we have adopted rules of the House. So we can't overrule our own rules. Our preference that they be there is clear, but there are rules we have adopted allowing ministers and members to operate virtually. So we can't overrule that. We can express our preference, which is what they are suggesting, and that's correct. And as you correctly say, Madam Speaker, that matter will be communicated that way. But the impression must not be given that when members act according to the rules, they are not doing their work. It would be an inaccurate impression to be left on this matter. I just wanted to clarify that, Madam Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Speaker. I see the hand of Honorable Machodina.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Lichisa has covered me because I refer to the matter that we have virtual rules that we have adopted in this House. Yes, all of us, we do want them to come physically. If there are reasons that one cannot be physically, the person can respond on a virtual platform. And I think Honorable Lichisa has covered me. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, I will not allow any further debate on the matter. Honorable Deputy Speaker reminded all of us that we have agreed on a hybrid model in our rules, and until such times such rules are changed, for now, we would preferably have them in the House. And if a person is unable to avail themselves in the House, then as long as the person is available to answer questions, even if it's on a virtual platform, can we then agree to that? Which is, we do have rules, and that all of us are familiar with the rules which allow for a hybrid format. Agreed, honorable members? Can we then proceed? Meburoto, did you have your hand up?
No, Speaker, I'm okay. I wanted to say we agree. Thank you.
Thank you very much, honorable members. Honorable members, on that note, we now adjourn our meeting, and I've taken note of what was raised by Honorable Imam Sheikh, which is that honestly, this is, we need not be meeting weekly if there are no new items for the agenda of the National Programming Committee. And I've noted the fact that it is a speaker meeting and that actually this meeting should take no more than 30 minutes as has been practiced in the past. And now we are at what, 10 o'clock? 10, and we said at 8:30. Our meeting effectively takes an hour and a half, and we should refrain from doing that. Honorable members, please let us take note of those issues, and the decision, of course, to invite Honorable Mazzoni and Honorable Langwini for a discussion in my office, it shall be done. And this brings us now to the end of our meeting, honorable members. And those who sit then in the Chief Whip's Forum, they will receive a report next week at the Chief Whip's Forum. Thank you very much with regards to the venue. Thank you, honorable members. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Long live the speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Lesum.
Thank you, Speaker. Enjoy your day.
Bye, Danky.
Yeah, Natasha's. I don't want to be a Natasha. Bye-bye, Natasha.
Recording stopped.
Tasha zilwa ngegama.